Hi there, welcome to Spirit of Change. My name is Shalini and we have Sister Shireen with us here on the sets. And if you remember, we were talking about dealing with breakup. Now we move to the next step because usually breakup does result in depression. So now dealing with depression. Welcome, Sister.
Thank you, Shalini. It's a pleasure being here with you.
Thank you. Me too. So, Sister, even if you look at the statistics that WHO has given us for the year 2017, is that the subject being depression, let's talk, because a lot of people don't talk about their depression.
Right.
And 1 out of every 4 seems to be suffering from this mental illness. So how can we, what is the spiritual antidepressant for depression?
First thing I want to share is that whatever we are talking about depression here is not for clinical depression.
Yes.
If you're clinically depressed, you should go to the doctor and you should get yourself treated.
True.
Because it's a very serious illness, just like diabetes or a heart problem. Depression is a problem. There shouldn't be a stigma around it.
Right.
If you have, a heart condition, you're not going to say, oh, I shouldn't talk about it or shouldn't tell anyone about it.
Yes.
So clinical depression also, think of it as a disease and take the stigma around it and go to a doctor.
Right.
That's my advice for people who are clinically depressed. So this is for depression when you have to deal with, if you're clinically depressed, along with going to the doctor, or if you're depressed where you really don't want to take a medicine, but something that you can do can help.
Yes.
This suggestion is for those people.
Yes.
And so what I've noticed in my personal experience, there are physical things you have to do.
Okay.
The 2 physical things that I always recommend that people do when they're depressed is no sugar and exercise.
Okay.
Definitely those 2 things. And then we can talk about the spiritual antidepressant. So no sugar and exercise is for sure.
All right. And
because sugar is a depressant. Just like alcohol is a depressant.
Okay.
Alcohol actually is a depressant.
Yes.
When you take alcohol, you feel a high.
Yes.
And then it really depresses you. So alcohol is a depressant, sugar is a depressant. And so we don't know if sugar is a depressant, and it's just such a normal part of our daily life.
So probably that's why a lot of people who are depressed feel that sugar craving. They feel like, eating something sweet or chocolates.
Right.
Okay, and well, that's not what you should be doing.
No sugar. I mean, dark chocolate with little sugar maybe, but definitely none of those Indian sweets. No. Those have a ton of sugar in them.
Right.
The other thing is spiritual antidepressant was your question.
Yes.
There are 2 things that really help is thinking about the true self is one, and having good wishes.
Yes.
And it really works like a medicine. Thinking about the true self and having good wishes. Because what happens is you have no idea the effect your mind has on your body.
Right. Yes. Yes, that's why they say for the depression that, it's not that when you're depressed, you don't control your thoughts, but your thoughts start controlling you.
But at some point, you can take control. You can't just give up control.
Yes, exactly.
Like let's say you have children and you didn't treat your children right and they become very unruly and they're totally ruling over you, but they're still your children. At some point, you can take control back.
You can take control back, yes.
And
you don't need to be harsh.
Yes.
You can be loving with them. And still...
What I've noticed is a good mind, healthy body, no depression.
Yes.
So the mind has to be healthy first. And for the mind to be healthy, those 2 things. Reflect on the true self and good wishes for everyone.
Right.
There shouldn't be any harboring. When we are depressed, we think the same thought again and again and again and again.
A vicious cycle.
Vicious cycle. And that has to stop.
Exactly.
And that stops by thinking about something like the true self.
Yes.
You know, I am a
It's just how-
soul, I am peace, I am, you know, I'm beautiful, I am, you know.
I'm enough.
Yes, I'm enough.
I'm enough.
Right.
But sister, you know, I was just reading this somewhere that people think that depression is about sadness and vacuum, but it could also mean just getting numb.
You know, what happens is depression is actually not sadness, it's a lack of vitality.
Yeah.
That there is no vitality, there is no zest for life. This feeling of indifference, I don't care, there's no feeling inside.
Yes. Yes. But how do, could you tell us some very simple symptoms, which, because there are a lot of people who are depressed, but they think that, no, I'm not depressed, I'm just normal.
You mean the numbness becomes
The
normal?
numbness becoming normal, yes. Becoming a part of my life.
Right.
Day-to-day life.
Right. There has to be an element of self-awareness, no?
Yes.
It's tricky. The situation is tricky. I'll tell you why it's tricky. You can't go around telling people, hey, you're depressed.
Yes.
They should realize it themselves.
Exactly.
You know, you don't want to add to a problem.
True.
So they should realize it themselves.
Yes.
And at some point, I have faith in people. At some point, they will realize.
Yes. You know what I have noticed about a lot of people is they just can't think positive about themselves or about a situation. You know, like you just said, that going back to yourself, the core,
The true self.
yes, can help you to deal with, help you to heal
Right.
depression. And how can that?
You know, I've heard that in a day, we have about 20 to 80,000 thoughts
Yeah.
in a day, right? Upwards.
Yeah. However they calculate it.
How they calculate, but there's no scientific basis for it.
Yeah.
But I heard 20,000. So let's take the minimum 20,000 thoughts.
Yeah.
That's a lot of thoughts.
That's a lot of thoughts.
So basically, we are
Huge
thinking
traffic.
machines.
Yeah.
That's all we are. We are thinking machines.
Yeah.
So our thoughts decide our day.
Hmm.
Because if I'm having 20,000 thoughts, that's all that's going to decide my day.
Yeah. So that's like a factory.
Your factory, and that decides what is
manufacturing,
happening,
yeah.
what's happening in my day. And another interesting realization I had was 80% of the thoughts I had yesterday, I have today.
Yes. Right.
So there are no new thoughts. Whatever I thought yesterday, I'm thinking today.
Yes.
And so what happened?
Because I didn't resolve them yesterday.
Yes,
probably?
yeah, and this life is the same, situation is the same. You know, I'm physically taking everything from the physical world.
Yeah.
So if my physical world is the same, then my thoughts are the same,
Right.
right?
Yes.
And so what then happens is my today becomes a recycled version of my past, my yesterday.
True.
And so how can you, if you're depressed yesterday, your 80% of the thoughts are the same, how can you have better thoughts today?
Yeah.
That's not going to work.
Exactly.
And so how can you have a better life, you know?
Yes.
And so we have to change our thoughts. That's why the good wishes.
Yes.
And so this whole idea of numbness and not feeling anything, we have to get from there to vitality.
True. Sister, I was also just thinking, like you said about thoughts, a lot of times media, the fashion industry, and the advertising industry tend to make us feel the way we want to feel. Like they may tell us that, okay, if you are fat, you should be feeling depressed. If you're not, if you're not fair, you should feel depressed. If you don't have that costume, if you don't have that glow on your skin, which this cream can give you, then you should feel.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Especially they show all these amazing movie stars and
Yeah.
they have this glow, and I'm thinking they must have worked the whole day to get that glow.
Yeah.
And then like a whole day makeup to get that glow.
So, these things are just being constantly stamped on your consciousness. So, like you said, knowing your true self can be so helpful.
Right.
Because then you are not influenced by all these external
Right, because
stimulus.
people are willing to sell you anything.
Yeah.
Don't underestimate what business can do. Business can really bring you down.
Yes.
An idea that you're going to make a buck out of someone and make them feel miserable, they don't care. They'll make you feel miserable, but they want that buck.
Yeah. And the fact that I think that my happiness is dependent on me becoming that.
Right. So
Yes.
if the way I tell if it's real or not is someone is selling me a product and saying, if you buy this cream, you will be happy and glowing face like this, then I'm thinking,
Yes.
so there's something odd with it.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people tend to go with it, that, okay, I might as well try this, and there might be a little, I may feel good about myself. So, sister, could you give us certain keys to unlock the treasures to, this vitality that I can have, not on an external level, not, the vitality outside, but
The glow, you mean?
Yes.
One of the things I was thinking is we have to be very concerned about the company we keep. And nowadays, I don't mean physical company. I mean my phone, my screen watching, whether it's YouTube or Facebook or whatever it is,
WhatsApp,
or my WhatsApp or whatever, right? If my whole social interaction is just with these screens, whether this tiny screen on my hand or
a larger screen.
larger screen, then how am I going to feel vitality? Because apart from the fact that these have energy, they have electromagnetic radiation, and that really brings down the person.
Yes.
And it's proven scientific fact now. You sleep with the cell phone next to you, there's all this radiation coming inside.
Yes.
So, you have the laptop on you and you're watching, and all of this radiation is coming inside. But if your whole life, in a day, if 3 hours goes by just you watching mindless TV, and, checking your WhatsApp and Facebook messages or whatever it is that you're doing, how are you going to come out of it?
That's true.
And so you have to restrict. I'm not saying give it up, but there has to be a time. And you have to say, no, twice a day, that's it.
Yes.
If I don't respond to my WhatsApp message in 5 minutes, then people are like, where were you? What happened to you? I'm like, no, I don't do WhatsApp.
Yeah.
That's what I tell
that's
people.
Such a distraction as well.
I do not do WhatsApp, so don't send me stuff on WhatsApp and don't expect a response.
That's true. Yeah.
And it's the same with Facebook or any of those things. So you have to be very disciplined about the company you keep. And watch it. Watch yourself. How much of the time are you spending on screens?
And I was just thinking that it's double depletion. One is, that, like you said, the electromagnetic waves that bring you down. And the other thing is, I think majority of the information that's there, we're just being flooded with a lot of negativity as well.
Right.
And we tend to get, there is a lot of positive stuff also, but we tend to be,
either positive or negative. We have to ration our intake.
Like a time boxing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Twice.
Yes, that's it. We have to ration our intake because otherwise it just gets out of hand.
True.
We don't need to look further of why this age, more than any other age, is so depressed.
Yeah.
Is I really feel it's not just the electromagnetic radiation from our smartphones, but also just the amount of time we spend on them.
Yeah.
Is like we don't have any more this human relationships. We don't have meaningful company.
Very dry.
Yes, we don't have meaningful company. My friend works with children, and she was telling me that children would rather, if you give them a toy, they go on YouTube first. They go on YouTube and they see how the toy should be operated.
Oh,
right?
Yes.
And then afterwards, the funny thing is they would rather watch other people operate toys on YouTube than play with their own toy.
Yes. So the creativity, your the way you explore things is just gone.
Gone. So you'd rather watch other people playing with the toy than, the kids are that way.
Exactly.
And so this age, more than any other age, is totally bent over like this.
Yeah.
I call it the reverse evolution. You know how we came from...
and now we're going
going back.
Right. So that's one of the keys to
really keep good company. Like read spiritual things. Keep company with people who are like-minded, who are spiritual. Have a purpose in life.
Have a purpose in life, yes.
That's another one. Have a purpose in life. It can't just be about you making money.
Yes.
There has to be a deeper purpose for life.
True. And I was just thinking once that why would nature have butterflies and such beautiful flowers if we were just made to keep rushing to the office, back and forth and
or looking at your smartphone.
Yes.
I've been living in the US for 26 years. And I've been coming to India at least twice a year for the past 26 years. And I'm noticing the difference when I'm waiting, in the waiting area, I'm noticing the difference. Yes. People before, 26 years ago, of course, there was no cell phone. So, there were cell phones, but not widely used. Yeah. So definitely, no cell phone. But as time went on, and now every age group, every person is with a smartphone bent like this.
Yes.
And like they're praying. Their new God.
That's true. And this, I just feel that somewhere we've become too impatient as well. Because we want things
right away.
Right. Instant. We need an instant coffee. We need instant, everything has to be, instant. And when you don't get it that way, feel that you've slowed down and people feel that's being passive.
Right. But I feel wanting things instantly doesn't lead to depression as much. Just this whole incessant thinking, old thinking, just thinking about the same things over and over again for years and years, keeping people's negativity inside you. Someone said something to you 10 years ago and you're still keeping that inside you. Those kinds of things really lead to depression. Like past hurt, like you don't let the past be in the past, all of those things. And each of those things is a tough one to handle.
Yeah.
But if you start reflecting on the true self, if you start having good wishes for yourself and for everyone around you, then you slowly start coming out of this.
I was also wondering, sister, that, we tend to feel we have confused loneliness and solitude actually. And I feel that if you cannot enjoy your own company, because in depression you tend to feel that there's nobody for me, I'm just alone,
Right.
And that loneliness can make you feel very low and, kind of a deep vacuum inside you. So how can one learn to deal with this loneliness? Is it also the self-awareness here that can help us?
Sometimes loneliness could be because you're living alone and because no one really cares about you and all of that. I feel the best way to deal with it is find people to help.
Okay.
Go find someone you can help.
Right. And that just uplifts your spirits. Like you said, the good wishes.
Right.
If you have good wishes for
just go find someone, Someone is there, needs your help.
Yeah. And in lifting somebody else,
you feel lifted up.
Yes. And again, I'm sure God here could just be, that one friend, guide, facilitator who can just help me in this, when I feel that darkness of depression.
Right. Should we do a meditation?
Yes.
Take a deep breath and release that breath and visualize yourself walking on a beautiful beach. It's a warm beach. You're walking at the shore of the water. Your bare feet can feel the sand beneath you. And the water is lapping against your feet. And you're slowly walking on that beach. And this feeling of totally being relaxed is overpowering you. And here, you give yourself some space and time to think about who you are, your true self, the real you, an eternal soul. traveler through time. You're not that body, that gender, that profession. Just keep reminding yourself, I am an eternal soul. I am an eternal soul. There is no beginning to me, there is no end to me. I'm timeless. I'm an eternal soul. And in this state of total calmness and acceptance of being an eternal soul, I emerge the people I live with and work with and send good wishes and pure feelings. May they be happy. May they find peace. I just send these thoughts to everyone that comes to my mind. May they be happy. May they find peace. That's all I wish for them. The purest of everything. That's what I wish for everyone. And with that feeling of being totally connected with who I am and sending good wishes and pure feelings for everyone, Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. So you just got me thinking that, in this meditation, there was an extraordinary feeling of joyfulness. So, sister, how can we, infuse this true joy in our lives, which is above, the ordinary?
If you think about it, let's say normal, right? There's normal. And below normal, let's say, is depression. It's not normal.
Yes.
Right? It's below normal. And then let's say joy is above here. For depression, we have to go from below normal to normal.
Yes.
And then normal to joy.
Joy.
And the way to do that is really to find a purpose. Our life should have meaning. Our life should have a purpose.
Right. So does that deeper purpose, because people could think that purpose is got to do with the exterior. I don't think so.
It can be anything. It could be internal, spiritual purpose, and it could be external. So there is a branch of psychology called positive psychology. And regular psychology deals with how to bring from below normal to normal.
To normal.
Positive psychology deals with how to bring from normal to above.
Yes.
And so what they have done, and there's a lot of research on it, on happiness and positive psychology. What they have done is, let's say you show people in Calcutta, really ill or being, just in very dire circumstances. But even if you show that, if you show, let's say, Mother Teresa helping these people, then people feel happy.
Yes.
Because there's someone helping.
Yes.
Right?
There's kindness, there's this element of compassion.
Kindness. So it's not the dire circumstances that's bringing them down. It's knowing that someone is helping is actually bringing them up.
Yes.
Just watching, you're watching someone and that's bringing you up, can you imagine if you do it, how much it will bring you up?
Yes, and the best part being that then you become solution focused.
Right.
You look at the problem, but you also see somebody,
right.
coming
and
up
so
with a solution.
What happens is, in many situations, it's not the circumstances that depress us. And it's not the circumstances that I'm going to go into that depress us. It's not like, oh, I should think the world is okay and everything is okay. No, that's not the thing. It is about seeing the reality of what's happening in the world. How is it that I can contribute to make someone else's life better?
Yes. Yes. So it's, just like your entire focus
Right.
turns to helping somebody else, and that helps you
Right.
to heal.
Right.
Because somewhere you get the good wishes from the other end as well.
Right. And then you're not in your own little 80% recycled, recycled past, recycled thoughts. You're not in your own little world then.
Right. It helps you to just let go of so many things when you're busy helping somebody else. Right. So, sister, that was really lovely because, now that we know that, yes, depression is not something that, because a lot of us feel that, I don't know if I'll ever be able to get out of it. But it's a very simple way in which you told us that, if you could just get rid of the gadgets around you and get going and meet people and help them with their situations. Thank you so much.
And thank you, Shalini. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you. So that was really lovely. I learned a lot of things in this episode that, we tend to underestimate the power of compassion and helping somebody else. But yes, it does help, because when we lift somebody else, we don't even realize that we've been lifted. So on that beautiful note, we'll end today's episode, and we will definitely see you in the next episode in the series of Spirit of Change. Thank you. Om Shanti.